I'm just doing this off the cuff. I got back from work and I've been ruminating with this trade for a couple hours. And as I was getting home, I just have too many thoughts and had to make a video. I don't have any notes. I have the Rangers line combinations from Daily Face-Off and then the trade. Never tell a 20-something-year-old the Rangers were involved in a trade with JT Miller, because the worst two trades the Rangers have made now involve JT Miller. So the Rangers receive JT Miller, Eric Brandstrom, a defensive prospect, and Jackson Dorrington, that I don't know a lot about, but I've heard Eric Brandstrom is kind of the guy, the prospect of this pick. Canucks receive center Philip Hedl, Victor Mancini, the defenseman, and a first rounder that is top 13 protected. I never wanted the Rangers to trade for JT Miller, and I think they gave up way too much. I see a lot of people online saying it is a fleece, and for a while I've been racking my brain, finding it frankly preposterous. I can't even speak of why someone would say that, and I realize, there are some Ranger fans, but I think a lot of people aren't Ranger fans, and it's till 2028. You got Trocheck, I think he's 33. Mika's 30. No, he's 31. Trocheck's 31. Mika's 31. Miller's 31. Till 2028, we have three centers in their 30s. We'll be lucky if one of them does not regress significantly to where they become an anchor. They all have no movement clauses. I know Mika does. I know Miller does. He waived it. Miller was a negative asset for the Canucks. Their golden goose, their guy, Elias Pettersson, didn't like him. Heard there was more going on than just Miller, but Miller was involved. I think everyone knows that. So they had to get rid of him. He has a no-move clause. So pretty much only has one team, maybe one other. He signed for a while. Yes, he had over 100 points, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get into that and why that doesn't matter and why that's kind of an illusion, especially with this Rangers team. He will fit right in with the unsustainable hockey of this team. But they had no leverage. The Canucks had no leverage. We gave up a first. We gave up Hedl, our only young center. There are no other centers in the pipeline. Yes, I know Hedl is literally like a head injury away, but I think he has potential enough to where you don't give him up. And if you give him up, you sure as hell don't give him up for a 31-year-old. You go back, maybe I could put the quote here if I could find it, but Jacob Trouba, when he was on the team, he quoted this. The captain, while on the Rangers, said, I think it's like something along the lines of, it's pretty apparent, we all know, this is our last run with this core. And I was like, yeah, in 2 years, like not this season, but next season is our last with Panarin. And if they didn't win this year, they're, you got to change the core up. They haven't gotten it done, and they're getting older. But this year with the collapse in November, I know they're coming back. Going to get into that with the mental and JT Miller. This team is not built to win a cup. And it wasn't last year, even when they got 2 games away from a Stanley Cup final. The Rangers, my whole life, and last year was an exception. They almost looked better than it, but they still showed at times. The Rangers, my entire life, have played unsustainable hockey. Any hockey fan knows playoff hockey is different. It's not just players being clutch. The ice tightens up. There's less calls, especially in third period, especially in overtime, especially as it gets later into the playoffs. You have to chop someone's head off to get a high sticking. You need to shatter someone's stick into a million pieces to get a slashing. And this Rangers team is predicated on their goaltending and their power play. and you get less power plays. And both years, the power play got figured out. It got figured out by Carolina last year. It got figured out by Florida. It got figured out by the Devils 2 years ago, and they couldn't score. And they're not good 5-on-5 offensively. So you just watch this team getting shelled in, watching a generational goalie make spectacular saves. You're watching the team get outplayed, and yet as a Ranger fan, if you've been a fan of this team for more than 10 years, you somehow still have hope. Any other fan from any other team is like, the Rangers are getting destroyed. How are they going to win? But we've all seen the story before. The Rangers have won so many series on the back end of their goalie. Now they have the power play. So they need 5-on-5. JT Miller got 100 points, 2 out of the last 3 seasons. And this year, not so much. A lot of going on. I don't have the numbers on me. Like I said, this is off the cuff. I just need to get this off my chest. So many of JT Miller's points are on the power play. He's not an offensive producer. He's not a possession driver. That has been this team's thing. They're constantly shelled in. And the problem it doesn't come directly from the offense. It does in part not being able to have a 5-on-5 score. I love Mika. He's struggled 5-on-5. And JT Miller doesn't fix that. And he doesn't fix the other team's problem, which was last year and is so much more present this year, especially with the departure of Trouba. As much as he was overpaid, he was not a terrible defenseman at all. That void hasn't been filled. Will Borgen, they just signed him. I don't really like the contract. It's not going to sink you, but whatever. I'm getting off topic. Team's defense, flat out, not a cup-winning defense. Team's 5-on-5 metrics, not a cup-winning 5-on-5 team. JT Miller does not change that. And this team might not even make the playoffs. It's not at all a sure thing. Do I think they can? Yes. And I thought they could before they even traded for JT Miller. It'll probably help. He's going to probably, I would say pretty confidently, play better than Hedl. I love Hedl. Think he has potential. He's shown flashes. Sure hasn't been consistent yet. Injuries have sucked. But a team that was supposed to retool after this year, and I think this breakdown was all mental, and we're getting a locker room problem. I mean, I heard Miller, he's just very passionate to win. He's tough on his teammates. And man, I love Mika. I mean, I named my freaking hamster out of him. He's my favorite player besides Kreider. But, I mean, there's news that the guy is a sensitive person. And we're trading this guy who's super aggressive towards his teammates. A team that is devoid of a leader. Say what you want about Trouba. I think he was a leader. And there's no leadership here. There was a 2-3 year gap of no captain. Panarin was on that team. Kreider was on that team. Mika was on that team. Fox was on that team. Keandre Miller was on that team. I think. Maybe he wasn't. Point is, so much of the core was there during the captain vacancy. None of them were willing to be captain or weren't fit to do so. This is a team devoid of leadership. This is a soft team. I don't like how cutthroat the Rangers are with trades. And Drury sent the memo basically saying, get your shit together or no one's off the table of being traded. And Trouba immediately, who was already a lame duck captain, was being threatened to be traded the most. And the team cratered. And now they're coming back, and you see, this team wasn't as bad as being literally the worst team in the NHL for a month. But you're seeing a very similar team to the President's Trophy. No Kakko, now no Hedl, no Trouba, no Goodrow, but still very similar. And you're seeing cracks in the armor that were there last year. They're just far more prevalent. And I'm talking all about this year, all about the cup thing. I'm kind of rambling. Hopefully I'm not repeating myself or going quick enough, but here's the main issue. I bring that up to say, with trading JT Miller You have to win now. I really think that if this trade is not to be a complete failure, you either need a Brancham kid defenseman to be a stud. Maybe he will, I don't know. But you need to win this year now. Maybe next year, they're all going to be 32. The cap's going up. You can see what you can do, but like, you realistically really closed the window when I don't know if the window was open enough for this core to make such an all-in move. I mean, I didn't criticize Drury at the time, but we could have gotten Gensel if we traded one of our big prospects. Forget the names are slipping away. I'll probably put them on the screen, maybe. I don't know. But we had prospects to trade, and we didn't. We got Roslovic, who was a bum. Bro was like super fast, no hockey IQ, just like couldn't hit it. The broadside of a barn, all that, fish in a barrel, whatever. And I didn't criticize it. We were having the best regular season in history. We did. But maybe you got Gensel. You get the 5-on-5 better, especially for the first line, which really sucks. Maybe you beat Florida. The team I didn't think played sustainable hockey, and we lost in 6 games to the Stanley Cup winners. Arguably still one of the best teams in the league. Possibly the best, maybe. We'll see. They play playoff hockey, so even though they're not the number one team in the regular season, I mean, Florida Panthers hockey comes so good in the playoffs. It just transfers so well. But now, when you're not even guaranteed in the playoffs, and you see the problems so much clearer than you did, people still pointed them out, but it was really hard to point it out when we kept winning. We started 7-0 in the playoffs. Like, maybe it is enough. Maybe when you have a really good power play, you got some depth, you got the best goalie in the league, and you got a great penalty kill. I've always said things that win you a cup: penalty kill, 5-on-5, depth. Rangers had 2 of those. They had, I don't know, the offensive depth. I think it was good enough. They had the penalty kill. Penalty kill is so important. It's so correlated. Any team that wins a cup is like a top 10 penalty kill. But not the 5-on-5. But you're like, you have a really good power play. You had the best goalie. So maybe you can make out for it. Get a good power play. Have Igor steal you a win or 2. Have him steal you a series. I'm tired of watching this team get into the playoffs, and I basically have to pray for a statistical anomaly. I don't care how big you are in the analytical stats. You don't even have to go too analytical into this. The way the Rangers play is unsustainable. They don't play good enough 5-on-5. They don't play good enough defensively. You can steal a series with a goaltender. You can steal a game with a power play. You cannot steal a Stanley Cup. And we just locked ourselves in. We traded away on first round pick. I think we don't have a first or second now, when I really think this team is due to just retool. Give it a year or 2, maybe even a year. Maybe make a big trade for defense. Our defense is terrible. We just played Colorado. We dominated and gave 1 odd man rush and lost with 14 seconds left. This is not the problem to address. We got a great power play forward. We don't need that. Our power play isn't good this year, but that is not going to make us a Stanley Cup contender. And you have sold us into this. I seriously think this is a trade that can sink this team for a decade. Because you got 2 centers that are old that maybe start regressing. You can't buy out Mika. Maybe you can buy one of them out. Maybe you can buy out Trocheck. Maybe you can try and trade one of them. But now you got 3. You got 3 of them. You can't get rid of all of them when they start to regress, and they're gonna regress before their contract ends. You have taken a team that has shown they are not sufficient to win and locked them in and sold part of our future, not even just a first rounder, but Hedel, There are no centers down the pipeline. And if we get one, there's no room. There's no room to even give them a chance. Are you going to put them on the fourth line? We're going to deal with another Lafreniere, Hito, Kako bullshit where you don't give them time and they don't develop. We can't develop a prospect if our lives depended on it. This organization is so cutthroat that you get players that are just jaded. I mean, you could really look at the Rangers disaster almost as a soft mutiny because Drury was just so cutthroat. And this is not the only example, and it sure as hell won't be the last. I mean, I see people saying the Rangers fleeced him because he got all these points and they didn't give up that much. You know, you could say Hito's this or that. He hasn't broken out, gotten 25 goals. He's an injury away from career ending, which I pray to God that doesn't happen because he is such a good player. He has so much potential, such a great shot, speed. But fuck, man. It's so disappointing. Why did this have to be the team I'm a diehard fan of more than anything else? I know my voice, I'm bringing this up so late in the video. If this has bothered you, you've tuned out, but my voice has been worse, and I was losing it because I was sick, and I'm a Bills fan, yeah. And I was getting it back, and in the Ravens game, I lost it, and I was gaining it back in the Chiefs game, I lost it again. And I might damn well lose it again because of this fucking trade. But I feel like I'm kind of running in circles at this point. I'm probably ranting. Maybe I'll cut the video down. I don't know. I kind of just want to throw this up here. Well, maybe. I don't know. But it's to say we made a win now move that I don't think is sufficient to win now. I don't think it solves the problems to win now. You traded the future and you very likely signed ourselves up for a cap hell for a team that you still have worry will even make the playoffs. It just makes me really hopeless that this organization does the same shit where we trade for an old superstar and they don't perform and you have to buy him out. You sign a guy for a lot of money and they don't show up in the playoffs. You get to watch a generational goaltender steal a series, become the, just the identity of the team, which doesn't really happen in the NHL. Even Hellebuck, who's going to win the Vezina this year, you think of Winnipeg, and of course you think of Hellebuck, but look at Kyle Connor, you look at that defense, you look at so much more. At Rangers, it's always the goalie. It was that all of Henrik Lundqvist's tenure. Do I really have to watch another generational goalie just disappear with nothing? We're making the same mistakes. This team continues to build an unsustainable way of playing. And it's always backed up because you have a goalie that allows you to get away with it, that allows you to make the playoffs. Now a power play that helps with that too. I'm so sick of it. And I'm so upset. I really feel like this trade could bury the Rangers for a long time. Maybe I'm being dramatic. It's still fresh. But trading for another 30-year-old center, your one future, a first-round pick, for a team that looks like their window may have closed behind them, I really, really hope I'm wrong. And I'm not going to delete this video if I'm wrong. God, there is nothing I would want more than to be wrong and see the team either this year or next year hoist a cup. There's nothing I would rather be more wrong about. I will be so unabashed and I made this video like a fucking fool. I will have pride in it. I'll spread the video myself. Look at me being a fucking idiot. Want more than nothing. I cannot really think of more things I want than to see this team win a cup. And that's why I'm so upset. Because it doesn't move the needle now. And it pushes the chance for our window so much further away. If you watched the whole thing, thank you. who knows, maybe I can make more videos like this in the future if there's some audience. Hockey really is kind of vacant of people talking besides like Steve Dangle. So thanks for watching. See ya.